Today, we are plunging into, well, one of the biggest food trends in the world, really, the shift toward plant-based eating. And this isn't just about, being vegan anymore. It's a massive spectrum. It includes flexitarians, pescatarians, and pretty much everyone in between.
Exactly. And whether you're motivated by your health or deep concern for the environment or animal welfare, our sources all agree on one thing. This movement is huge, and it's backed by a lot of science.
But here's the critical part, right? Success, from what we've seen, it hinges entirely on planning. You can't just take meat off your plate and assume your body's going to figure it out.
Not at all.
So we've compiled the latest expert guidance for you, articles, nutritional reviews, a lot of research to give you the ultimate shortcut. Our mission in this deep dive is to guide you through all those nutritional specifics. So, okay, let's unpack this. What do you absolutely need to know to make a plant-focused diet work for you, no matter where you sit on that spectrum?
Well, the mission for you, the listener, is really clear. It's to move past the general idea and get a solid nutritional checklist. We need to make sure that if you reduce or, completely eliminate animal products, you are still meeting every single one of your body's needs.
And how are our sources defining a plant-based diet? Because that term gets thrown around a lot.
It does. But it's pretty simple. It's a diet centered on foods from plants. That's your vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits. And it has few, or maybe even no, ingredients that come from animals.
Okay.
And we really can't stress this core finding enough. Plant-based eating, when it's done correctly, is seen as this powerful way to improve health outcomes. It supports healthy living at every single age. But, and this is the big takeaway, planning is not optional. It is absolutely essential.
Right. And that level of planning totally depends on the choices you're making because, like you said, it's not just a yes or no, it's a gradient. So maybe let's quickly map out that dietary landscape so you know exactly where that planning really needs to kick in. On one end, you've got your semi-vegetarians. We call them flexitarians now. They eat plant-based most of the time, but, might have a little bit of meat, seafood, poultry, eggs, or dairy sometimes. They've got the most flexibility.
Mm-hmm. And then moving down the line, you see groups with more defined rules. The pescatarians include fish and shellfish, but they cut out meat and poultry. Then we start separating dairy and eggs. You've got the lacto-ovo vegetarians. They keep both dairy and eggs. And honestly, nutritionally, they're still checking a lot of boxes pretty automatically.
And then it gets even more specific. There are ovo-vegetarians who will eat eggs but no dairy, and lacto-vegetarians who keep the dairy but no eggs. And this is where you really start to see that need for deliberate planning for, say, calcium or vitamin D, depending on what you cut.
Exactly. And finally, you get to the most restrictive, and because of that, the most nutritionally complex group, the vegans. They exclude all animal products. So that means no dairy, no eggs, no honey, no gelatin. I mean, nothing derived from an animal.
Beyond the labels, it's really worth looking at why people are taking on this challenge. Our sources point to four main drivers. There's concern for animal welfare, the really significant proven health benefits, these overwhelming environmental concerns, and, of course, just personal preference.
And if we connect the logistics of this diet to that bigger picture, the environmental reason is just, it's staggering. It gives so much context for why all the effort is worth it. The data points to this. A well-planned, completely plant-based diet in the UK needs only 1/3 of the fertile land, fresh water, and energy.
Wow, 1/3.
Just 1/3 of what a typical meat and dairy diet requires. And when you
Yeah.
hear that ratio, 1/3, it suddenly makes that daily food planning challenge seem, a lot more manageable in comparison.
Absolutely. And then the health benefits just add to that. I mean, these diets are consistently linked to reducing the risk for major chronic illnesses. We're talking type 2 diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, even certain cancers. Plus, they tend to make weight management a bit simpler. So the benefits are compelling. Now we need to move from the why to the how. Because while plant foods are affordable and everywhere, cutting out animal products means we have to get really educated about nutrients. We're calling it the essential 8, the 8 nutrients that need your special attention.
And we have to start with the one that is an absolute non-negotiable, the one that's like a huge warning sign for anyone eating only plants.
Wait, before you jump in, I'm curious. If non-vegans are fine, what exactly is the source of this nutrient? Why is it just missing from the plant kingdom?
That is a great question, and it really gets to the heart of matter. We're talking about vitamin B12. It is the only nutrient our sources talk about that is not reliably available from plants.
The only one.
The only one. B12 is made by bacteria, and historically, animals or their products, meat, dairy, eggs, were how humans got it. Now, because we sanitize our produce so thoroughly, even if those bacteria were on the plants, they're usually just washed away.
So that makes B12 the absolute must supplement for vegans.
Without question, it's an essential vitamin. A deficiency can lead to fatigue, really severe anemia, and even irreversible nerve damage. It might even increase your risk for cardiovascular disease.
So for a strict vegan, the only reliable sources are fortified foods and supplements, full stop. You have to be checking the labels on breakfast cereals, yeast extracts, soya yogurts, plant-based milks, and that word fortified is key. If it's not on the label, it doesn't count.
It does not count.
And since this is a requirement, not an option, we should be really clear about the dosing. What are the exact numbers the sources recommend?
Okay, the Vegan Society's recommendations are very specific. They offer two paths, really. Option 1. You eat B12 fortified foods at least twice a day, and you aim for a total of 3 micrograms. That's mcg of B12 daily.
3 micrograms spread out.
Right. Or option 2, which is often simpler for a lot of people, is supplementation. You can either take a small daily supplement of at least 10 micrograms every day, or if you prefer, you can take a single, much larger dose of at least 2,000 micrograms just once a week.
Okay, so just so you have that straight, it's either 3 milligrams in fortified foods daily, a 10 milligram daily pill, or one big 2,000 milligram pill once a week. Those are the numbers to write down.
Exactly.
Okay, moving past that B12 herbal, let's talk protein. This is the one everyone worries about, but it's actually one of the easiest to get right.
It really is. Protein needs are easily met as long as you eat enough calories and a good variety of plant foods. We have incredible sources: lentils, beans, chickpeas, nuts and seeds, and that whole range of soya products like tofu and tempeh.
And for anyone just adapting their diet, our sources point out that meat substitutes, soya burgers, mycoprotein like corn, wheat-based seitan can be really useful. They're convenient, high-quality sources for that transition period.
Good bridge for sure.
A good bridge, yeah. But here's the warning nugget that comes with them. Those substitutes can be really high in salt and fat, so they should be used in moderation. They're not a replacement for whole foods every single day. And a crucial point for vegans, always read the labels. Sometimes these things have hidden animal ingredients like egg whites or milk derivatives.
Right. Okay, next up. Long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. These are vital for brain, eye, and cardiovascular health. The richest source is traditionally oily, fish, salmon, mackerel, that kind of thing. For plant eaters, though, the body has to perform a conversion process.
A conversion?
Yeah, you see, plants provide something called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. Your body has to convert that ALA into the longer active forms, EPA and DHA. And that conversion process, it can be pretty inefficient, so you basically need to oversupply the ALA to make up for it.
So we need the richest sources of that raw material, the ALA. Our sources list walnuts, flax seeds, or linseeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds. Those are the key ones.
And it even matters when you're selecting oils. Because of that inefficiency, you have to be deliberate. Rapeseed oil, often just called vegetable oil, and hemp and flaxseed oils are much better choices than, say, corn or sunflower oil, which are lower in omega-3s. And for vegans who want a direct supply of EPA and DHA without relying on that conversion, algae-based supplements are the way to go.
Let's talk iron. It's vital for carrying oxygen in your blood. A deficiency causes anemia, fatigue. And the plant sources are everywhere. Dried fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds, peas, beans, lentils, leafy greens.
But here's the catch, and this is critical. The iron in plant foods is called non-heme iron, and it is absorbed far, far less efficiently than the heme iron you find in meat and eggs. This is partly because of natural compounds in plants, like phytates, which can actually bind to the iron and stop your body from taking it in.
So we need a workaround. What's the absorption trick?
The trick is vitamin C. Vitamin C is the catalyst here. By eating plenty of vitamin C-rich foods, so think citrus, peppers, strawberries, kiwi, at the same time as you eat your iron sources, you dramatically boost the absorption rate of that non-heme iron. It's a classic nutritional 1-2 punch that every plant-based eater has to master.
That's fantastic. It turns a challenge into a solvable puzzle. Okay, now for the really nuanced minerals, where how you prepare the food is as important as what you choose, zinc and iodine.
Let's start with zinc. It's crucial for your immune system, for cell growth. And, like iron, zinc absorption from plants is lower than from animal sources. You find it in wheat germ, beans, nuts, seeds, mushrooms, some fortified cereals.
But again, it's this phytates getting in the way.
It's the phytates again, yes. But this is where you have to get clever with traditional food prep. To break down those phytates and boost your zinc uptake, our sources advise a few things. Seek out fermented soya, like tempeh and miso. You must soak dried beans and then rinse them before you cook them. And it really helps to sprout your grains and seeds.
It's remarkable, isn't it? It means succeeding on this really modern, intentional diet requires us to bring back these ancient techniques like soaping and sprouting that people figured out centuries ago to get the most from their food.
Exactly. And that same level of complexity applies to iodine. You need it for healthy thyroid function, for your whole metabolism. Since the main sources are dairy and seafood, exclusively plant-based diets carry a real risk of deficiency.
So where do plant eaters get it?
The plant sources are mainly sea vegetables, so things like nori, wakame, and kelp. But, and this is a critical warning from our sources, it's very counterintuitive, you must not eat sea vegetables more than once a week.
More than once a week. Why?
Because excess iodine is also unhealthy, it can harm the thyroid just like a deficiency can. It's an incredibly narrow nutritional window. The strong advice is, if you think you need more, you consult a dietitian about supplementing. You really don't want to overdo it with seaweed.
Right. Finally, let's wrap up with the structural cornerstones. Calcium and vitamin D. Calcium is obviously essential for bone health. Adults need about 700 milligrams per day. And if you cut out dairy, you have to be so deliberate about hitting that target. The sources give great alternatives. Fortified plant-based milks and yogurts are key, but also dried figs, almonds, leafy greens like kale, but not spinach. The oxalates get in the way. Red kidney beans, sesame seeds, and importantly, calcium-set tofu.
And you have to remember, vitamin D is calcium's partner. It's essential for your body to actually use that calcium. Well, you get it from sun exposure in the summer. For many listeners, especially in northern latitudes, vitamin D supplementation is just a necessity no matter what your diet is.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this deep dive really mean for you?
The research is overwhelmingly clear. Plant-based diets, when they're backed by this level of, detailed planning, are medically recognized as effective ways to improve health across all life stages. This isn't about restriction. It's about a higher level of nutritional optimization.
It's quickly synthesize the source's key commandments then.
First, you absolutely must include a wide variety of plant foods. Variety is your insurance policy. Second, keep the health rewards in mind. This planning directly reduces your risk of serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Third, and this is non-negotiable for vegans, you must ensure a reliable source of vitamin B12, hitting those 3, 10, or 2,000 microgram targets. And finally, if you exclude dairy, be vigilant. Consume other calcium-rich foods every single day to meet that 700 milligram requirement.
That is the ultimate nutritional roadmap. It really drives home just how much specific, educated attention this requires. We've gone way beyond just don't eat meat. We've learned you need specific supplements for B12. You have to use vitamin C as a hack for iron. You need ancient techniques like soaking to unlock zinc. And then, so counterintuitively, you have to strictly limit something like seaweed to once a week for iodine. It requires constant, educated vigilance.
And that leads to a final provocative thought for you to mull over. We've spent this time talking about the sheer logistical complexity, the planning, the supplements, the preparation, the careful monitoring of things like iodine intake. How does that daily specific logistical challenge weigh against that staggering, measurable environmental benefit we mentioned, needing only 1/3 of the resources? Which motivation, the drive for profound personal health or the commitment to a drastically reduced environmental footprint, ultimately provides the fuel for the most successful, long-term adherence to a plant-based diet? Something to think about as you plan your next meal.